Stop scrolling and check your pocket now, because some ordinary-looking Washington quarters are hiding silent fortune that most people spend without a second thought. Do not spend these coins. Seriously, collectors are fighting over certain quarters that look completely normal, and the auction prices are causing real shock across America. Nobody talks about these hidden treasures until it's too late. And the terrifying part? Each coin we reveal today gets rarer, scarier, and far more valuable. Stay till the end, because these coins could change everything. First up, the 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark is one of those coins people ignore every single day. And that mistake is quietly costing some Americans a fortune. At first glance, it looks like nothing special. Worn silver-gray color. Ordinary eagle on the back. George Washington staring forward like every other quarter in circulation. But this is exactly how hidden wealth survives for decades, unnoticed, untouched, accidentally passed from hand to hand, while collectors secretly hunt for it behind the scenes. And once you hear what happened to this specific quarter at auction, you may never look at your spare change the same way again. This is not fiction. A fine condition 1974 no mint mark quarter has shocked collectors with market values reaching around $110,000 under the right market conditions. And what makes this even crazier is that millions of people have probably held one without realizing it. Back in 1974, America was under serious economic pressure. Inflation was climbing, confidence was shaky, families were struggling with rising prices, and the U.S. Mint was pumping out coins at brutal speed just to keep commerce moving. That pressure created conditions collectors still obsess over today. Machines ran harder. Dies wore down faster. Quality control suffered in ways most people never noticed. And while ordinary Americans were focused on surviving rising costs, rare coins quietly slipped into circulation. That's why this year matters so much. The story behind the 1974 Washington quarter is connected to a tense period in American history when the country was changing fast and hidden treasures were being born in plain sight. Most people miss this detail completely, but collectors never do. Now here's where things become dangerous to ignore. The version without a mint mark came from the Philadelphia Mint, and for years, people treated those quarters like pocket junk. But collectors eventually realized that surviving examples with strong original surfaces, attractive aging, and untouched detail were becoming incredibly hard to find. Think about it. Quarters are some of the hardest working coins in America. They get dropped into vending machines, scraped across counters, tossed into jars, carried in sweaty pockets, and destroyed by cleaning chemicals. So when an original 1974 quarter survives in respectable condition without being polished or damaged, collectors notice immediately. Demand starts rising. Supply keeps shrinking. Quietly, aggressively, the market changes. Look closely at the front of this coin, and you'll understand why serious collectors become obsessed. The obverse shows President George Washington facing left, designed by John Flanagan, with the word Liberty stretched proudly across the top edge. Beneath Washington's neck sits the date 1974, the tiny detail that changes everything. And below that, the phrase, "In God We Trust," appears sharply struck across the lower left field. On high-end examples, collectors inspect Washington's hair details, the cheek surface, the jawline, and even the texture around the lettering. Tiny marks can destroy massive value. One small scratch, one careless cleaning, one damaged rim. That's all it takes to turn hidden treasure into ordinary change. Do not spend this coin if you think you have one. Flip the coin over, and the reverse side becomes just as important. The eagle stands with wings spread wide, clutching arrows beneath the words, United States of America. Above the eagle appears E pluribus unum, while the denomination quarter dollar curves below. But here's what most people never notice. Collectors study the sharpness of the feathers, the strength of the strike, the spacing of the lettering, and the surface color under direct light. A naturally aged quarter with original darkness or soft gray toning can trigger emotional bidding wars because it proves the coin has not been messed with. Original toning matters. Dirt, age, and even certain antique surfaces can actually increase collector desire. Cleaning the coin destroys that history forever. Never clean this coin. That mistake has erased thousands of dollars from coins that once held serious money potential. Physically, the 1974 Washington quarter has very precise measurements that collectors know by heart. The coin weighs about 5.67 grams and carries a copper nickel-clad composition wrapped around a pure copper core. Its diameter measures roughly 24.3 millimeters, while the thickness sits near 1.75 millimeters. The reeded edge, what many collectors casually call the girth or edge detail, contains tightly spaced ridges that help identify wear and authenticity. These measurements sound ordinary, but under professional inspection, they become critical. Even slight differences in weight, thickness, or edge appearance can reveal damage, counterfeits, or improper alterations. That's why professional grading is absolutely critical for high-value coins like this. Serious collectors do not gamble when this kind of money is involved. And the emotional side of this market is where things get unbelievable. Some collectors are not buying these coins because they need another quarter. They buy them because surviving original examples represent a disappearing piece of American history. Every year, more of these coins are destroyed, cleaned, scratched, or lost forever. The number of truly attractive survivors keeps getting smaller. That creates pressure. Auction rooms become tense. Online bidding becomes aggressive. Wealthy collectors quietly compete for the best examples because they know future supply could become even tighter. And when two determined collectors want the same coin, prices explode far beyond what ordinary people think a quarter could ever be worth. This is hidden wealth hiding in plain sight. One reason this particular coin shocks new collectors is because it does not rely on dramatic minting errors to create value. Most people think only error coins become valuable. That's completely wrong. Sometimes condition alone changes everything. A 1974 no mint mark quarter with strong details, untouched surfaces, proper grading, and beautiful natural aging can trigger astonishing market behavior. The market rewards originality. That's why patience creates wealth in coin collecting. The people making serious money are often the ones who preserved coins instead of spending them or trying to make them shiny. Stay till the end, because what comes next is even bigger. And this next detail explains why some collectors refuse to sell these coins at all. There's also a psychological factor that drives this market higher every year. Older collectors remember the 1970s vividly. They remember inflation, economic anxiety, political tension, and the feeling that America was entering a new era. Owning a surviving 1974 quarter in premium condition feels personal to them. It's history they can hold in their hands. Younger collectors see something different, opportunity. They see a coin people still overlook today. That combination creates dangerous demand because emotional collectors spend aggressively. And once emotional money enters the market, prices can rise fast. This is why some coins suddenly disappear from auctions for years. Owners lock them away, waiting for values to climb even higher. If you think you may have this quarter, the first thing to check is the date and the missing mint mark. Under the date area, there should be no D and no S. Then examine the surfaces carefully under soft light. Look for original color, strong lettering, and natural wear patterns. Do not scrub it. Do not polish it. Do not wipe it with cloth. Even tiny cleaning hairlines can destroy collector interest forever. Most people ruin valuable coins trying to make them look newer, when collectors actually want untouched originality. This detail changes everything. A naturally aged coin often attracts more attention than a bright, cleaned example because it tells a believable survival story. Another important factor is how the coin feels in the hand. Experienced collectors notice the solid weight immediately. They feel the thickness, the firmness of the reeded edge, and the balanced diameter that authentic quarters carry. Fake or damaged examples often feel wrong before they even reach a scale. That's why professionals spend years training their eyes and hands. And when a genuine 1974 no-mint mark quarter in attractive fine condition appears with original surfaces intact, serious buyers move fast. They understand they are not just buying a quarter. They are buying rarity, survival, history, and future opportunity all at once. Today, market demand for strong Washington quarters continues growing because collectors know many overlooked coins are disappearing from circulation forever. Families cash in jars. Banks destroy old coins. Damaged pieces vanish every year. Meanwhile, untouched survivors become harder to replace. That shrinking supply creates silent fortune for the people patient enough to recognize value before the crowd catches on. And remember, a coin reaching around $110,000 is not ordinary money anymore. That is life-changing opportunity. That is serious money hidden inside a coin most Americans would spend on a soda without thinking twice. So, before you toss your spare change onto a counter tonight, stop and look carefully at every 1,974 Washington quarter you find. Because one missing mint mark, one original untouched surface, and one professional grade could separate ordinary pocket change from a hidden treasure collectors desperately want. Do not spend this coin. Protect it carefully, keep the original toning intact, and get professional grading if the condition looks promising. The difference between a common quarter and a silent fortune is often one tiny, overlooked detail. And the next coin we're about to reveal makes this quarter look almost safe by comparison. What collectors discovered on that next Washington quarter triggered panic buying, secret private deals, and auction battles so intense that some experts still refuse to believe the prices are real. You've probably touched this next Washington quarter hundreds of times without even slowing down to look at it. That's exactly why collectors are obsessed right now. Hidden wealth does not always shine. Sometimes it looks dirty, worn, ignored, and completely ordinary. And the terrifying part is that people are accidentally spending these coins every single day, while serious collectors quietly pull them out of circulation one by one. Do not spend these coins. Check your pockets, your car cup holders, your old jars, because what looks like loose change could secretly be the biggest mistake you ever make. Stay with me, because this next quarter gets even more unbelievable the deeper you look. The 1991 Washington quarter with the P mint mark is one of the strangest hidden treasures circulating in modern American coin collecting because almost nobody expects a dirty, circulated quarter from the early 1990s to carry this kind of emotional weight among collectors. That disbelief is exactly what makes this coin so dangerous to ignore. People see wear, darkness, scratches, faded surfaces, and immediately assume the coin is worthless. They spend it without hesitation. But collectors, they slow down. They study it closely. And when the right 1991p quarter appears with the right original surfaces and authentic circulation character, the reaction inside the coin market becomes intense. This is not fiction. Some collectors genuinely believe these quarters are disappearing faster than people realize, and that fear has created a wave of quiet competition across auctions and private sales. Back in 1991, the United States was entering a tense economic period filled with uncertainty. America was dealing with recession pressure, changing global politics after the Cold War, rising concerns about jobs, and a public trying to adapt to a rapidly shifting economy. During times like this, coins move heavily through circulation because people spend more carefully, save differently, and everyday cash flow becomes critical. The U.S. Mint was producing enormous quantities of quarters to keep commerce moving smoothly across the country. But high production pressure creates an overlooked problem collectors know very well: heavy die usage, faster wear on equipment, and lower survival rates for attractive original examples decades later. Most of these quarters lived brutal lives in circulation. That matters more than people understand. The Philadelphia Mint marked these quarters with a tiny P mint mark, a detail many Americans still ignore completely. Yet collectors fixate on that small letter because it connects the coin directly to one of the busiest minting operations in the country during an era of heavy production demand. What makes surviving circulated examples fascinating is the story written into their surfaces. Every scratch, every darkened area, every softened edge tells a survival story. And oddly enough, collectors often prefer original, dirty, circulated examples over cleaned, shiny ones, because original surfaces prove authenticity and untouched history. This detail changes everything. A cleaned quarter may look prettier to ordinary people, but to serious collectors, it can instantly lose emotional appeal and long-term market strength. Never clean this coin. At first glance, the obverse design feels familiar. George Washington faces left with that calm but powerful expression Americans have seen for generations. Across the top appears Liberty, while In God We Trust rests to the lower left side near Washington's neck. The date 1991 sits clearly below, and beside it is the tiny P mint mark that changes the entire conversation. Collectors inspect every part of this front design obsessively. They examine the hair above Washington's ear, the sharpness around the jawline, the openness of the fields, and even the natural darkness developing near the lettering. What ordinary people call dirt, collectors sometimes call preserved originality. That natural circulation skin matters because it proves the coin survived decades without harsh chemical cleaning or destructive polishing. Now, turn the coin over, and the reverse design reveals even more of the emotional attraction behind this hidden treasure. The eagle spreads its wings proudly in the center, gripping arrows underneath the words, United States of America. Above the eagle appears E pluribus unum, while the denomination quarter dollar curves along the lower edge. But here's what makes collectors stop and stare. On naturally circulated 1991p quarters, the reverse often develops a deep steel gray tone mixed with soft antique highlights around the eagle's feathers and lettering. Those surfaces cannot be recreated once destroyed. Original toning matters more than most people realize. Some collectors spend years hunting for untouched circulated examples because modern cleaning methods have ruined countless surviving coins already. Physically, the 1991p Washington quarter carries the same official specifications that serious collectors memorize instantly. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams and uses a copper-nickel-clad composition surrounding a pure copper core. Its diameter measures around 24.3 millimeters, while the thickness sits near 1.75 millimeters. The reeded edge, often casually called the girth detail among collectors, contains tightly spaced ridges that help identify wear patterns and authenticity. Why does this matter so much? Because experienced collectors can often detect damage or alterations simply from the feel of the coin in hand. An authentic circulated quarter has a certain balance, density, and edge feel that counterfeits or damaged examples fail to match. Most people never notice these details. Collectors absolutely do. And this is where the psychology behind the market becomes almost unbelievable. Dirty, circulated coins should not inspire emotional bidding wars, right? That's what most people think. But the opposite has happened. The more original and believable the circulation story feels, the stronger the attraction becomes for certain collectors. Some buyers are tired of overly bright modern coins that look artificially perfect. They want authenticity. They want a coin that survived real American circulation untouched. A quarter that sat in pockets during the early 1990s. A quarter that passed through gas stations, diners, laundromats, and cash registers during a changing era in American history. Powerful collector demand. That emotional connection creates powerful collector demand because buyers feel they are holding genuine history, not a polished imitation. What makes survival today so rare is simple. People abuse quarters relentlessly. Coins get cleaned, dropped, bent, scratched, soaked in chemicals, or spent without thought every single day. Even worse, many families unknowingly cash in old jars at banks where coins disappear into massive processing systems forever. Quietly, year after year, the number of untouched original 1991p quarters keeps shrinking. That shrinking supply is creating silent fortune for the people patient enough to recognize value early. This is hidden wealth, hiding in plain sight, and the scariest part is that most Americans are still ignoring it. One major mistake destroys collector value faster than almost anything else: cleaning. The moment someone scrubs the coin with baking soda, wipes it with cloth, or dips it into chemicals, the original surface gets erased forever. Under magnification, professionals immediately spot unnatural hairlines and stripped surfaces. That's why professional grading is critical. A properly authenticated and professionally graded 1991p quarter gains credibility, protection, and serious market attention. Without professional grading, many buyers hesitate because modern coin markets depend heavily on trusted authentication. This is not the kind of coin you casually throw into a drawer once you realize what it might be. Another reason collectors obsess over this quarter is because circulated condition tells a human story. Every worn edge suggests years of movement through American life. Every faded detail represents decades of survival. And strangely enough, certain dirty circulated examples create stronger emotional reactions than cleaner, higher-grade coins because they feel honest and untouched. That emotional authenticity is becoming harder to find. Collectors know many surviving quarters have already been ruined by overcleaning or careless storage. So when a naturally circulated example surfaces with attractive aging and believable wear, bidding can become extremely aggressive behind the scenes. Auction behavior around these quarters has become fascinating. Serious collectors rarely speak loudly about what they are targeting. Instead, they quietly watch listings, study photographs, and wait for opportunities to appear. Then suddenly, bidding jumps fast. What looked like an ordinary circulated quarter becomes the center of intense competition. And once strong examples disappear into private collections, they often stay hidden for years. Many collectors are holding, not selling, because they believe supply will become even tighter over time. Demand keeps rising, while original survivors keep vanishing. That combination creates serious pressure in the market. If you think you may have one of these quarters, the first thing to check is the date and the P mint mark beside it. Then study the surfaces carefully under soft light. Look for natural circulation color, original darkened areas, and strong, untouched texture. Do not try to improve the appearance. Do not polish the coin. Never clean this coin. That mistake alone has destroyed hidden fortunes across the coin market. Patience creates wealth here. Sometimes, the ugliest-looking original coin becomes the most emotionally desirable piece to advanced collectors, because authenticity cannot be faked forever. And here's something even more shocking. Many collectors believe the public still hasn't fully caught on to how important original circulated modern quarters could become in the future. Most people continue focusing only on ancient silver coins or dramatic mint errors while quietly ignoring coins like this one hiding in everyday circulation. That creates opportunity for the people paying attention right now. Because once the wider market finally notices, finding strong original examples may become dramatically harder and far more expensive. Today, some authenticated 1,991p Washington quarters in desirable circulated condition have stunned the market with values reaching around $90,000 under the right conditions. Let that sink in for a second. A dirty quarter. Drawers. A coin people toss into vending machines without thinking. A coin buried in couch cushions and forgotten in old drawers. That is the definition of hidden treasure. Silent fortune hiding in plain sight while ordinary Americans accidentally lose life-changing opportunity every day. So before you spend another quarter, slow down and look carefully. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Study the surfaces. Preserve the original toning and circulation character, because once it's destroyed, it can never truly come back. Get professional grading. If the coin looks promising, store it safely, and remember this: collectors are not chasing perfection anymore. They are chasing originality, survival, and emotional history. And sometimes the dirtiest-looking coin becomes the most powerful hidden treasure of all. But the next coin in this series is on an entirely different level. What collectors discovered about that next Washington quarter triggered panic searches across America, and the tiny detail hidden on that coin has already made some people tear apart old coin jars in desperation. Stay tuned, because what comes next may be the most dangerous quarter to ignore yet.